Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, etiquette, but the unwritten rules of tennis. Stay tuned. All right, so wanted to talk about the unwritten rules of tennis. Coach Rob, Mr. Etiquette, here is with me today. And most of us, some of us know the rules of tennis, the rules of engagement, like the courtesy, the formality.
You mean like when a ball comes onto my court and I just wing it back at your court instead of making sure that you're not playing and I'm not rolling the ball right back at your feet and then I'm waiting to give it back to you when you're it's safe and that you get the ball back nicely?
Oh, have I done that before? I'm sorry. But I have seen that. I have seen that, though.
We've all seen that.
That's because they haven't been taught.
Right.
That's what we're going to talk about today, actually.
What about when they bring their dog onto the court and they also have a cordless or wireless speaker? And they're playing music.
Right. But what if they ask you if they can do it first?
Well, then we have no animals on court because before I was here, I guess somebody did have a dog that stayed on their court and dropped a number 2 and left a mess. And so now, if you can read the sign on the gate says, part of the rules we have is no animals on the court.
I did not know that because, I've seen people bring dogs. And usually
I get it, like if it's a service dog or something, that's different, but...
usually the owner of the dog is pretty, controlling of the dog. Like they understand, I'm bringing my dog, I'm sorry, and this dog will not bug us. It will not affect our
And a lot of times, or just tie him up on the other side of the fence, on the other side of the court.
Right. So we just talked about 2. Now let's talk about match play in a semi-formal environment here. I'm not talking about a tournament where you have to register. I'm just talking about like a league match or something like that. Let's talk about some of the etiquette in those types of matches.
Okay. Are you the one that shows up late all the time, or?
Good point there. There is...
Is that you, or I don't think so, but...
There is rules on that, though, guys. And then there is the big D word. When you're, I think, 30 minutes late, you get defaulted.
It depends on, check out your, friend at court, USDA handbook or whatever. But that usually, you have your... If you call in and say, hey, I'm stuck in traffic, there's a big accident, I'm doing my best to get here. There should be a little bit of grace period because that happens to all of us. But, hey, I went to the wrong club because I didn't read the email right, or
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Or, or I didn't realize I was playing until you called me and now I'm just running late. There's all sorts of those. You default the warm-up, point penalty, game penalty, set penalty, match penalty, however,
Right. So... be on time. It's just a courtesy.
Be early.
Be early.
Be early.
But don't be too early, because I've seen people come in like 2 hours early.
But that's a little too early. Unless you're trying to get a warm-up in, or you're using the fitness center, or it's your facility and that's what you need to get yourself ready. But that's a little extreme.
Right. So arrive early, not too early. Don't be late. Now, warm-up is a big thing. You just brought that up. The warm-up time with your opponent is actually pretty short. It's like 5 to 15 minutes.
Well, it says 5.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But most people they play almost a half set and then they decide to get started.
Right. But you can just say, Warm-up's done. Let's go.
Well, usually you go through the procedure of warming up, which involves some etiquette, which can be challenging for newer players because it's hard to feed the ball if you're playing doubles on half the court.
Right.
It's hard to feed somebody a volley. That doesn't get practiced a lot. It's really hard for people to sometimes lob, especially at, like a 2-5, 3-0. Usually by 3-5, you're, have played enough where you know how to do those things. But it can be challenging at the beginning level. And if you've only got 3 balls, you spend a lot of time chasing them.
Yeah. So more time picking them up.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if you're playing, you're socializing a little bit with your opponent.
What about the socialization?
That is part of the, quote, fun, right, is being out playing and trying to have a good time. And everybody's version of what a good time is. Somebody's version of a good time is just winning. Somebody's version of a good time is they're not at work and they're out playing and exercising and, hitting and giggling. So
I guess feel out who your opponent is. If they're your old buddy or if they're like your arch nemesis. Will depend on how much chatting you do.
Right. Usually, and everyone's a little different. Somebody can be the nicest person off the court and totally somebody different on the court with their, behavior and antics and whatnot. And, everybody's different. So every match is a different experience and it's a learning. You're basically getting a lesson. Someone's trying to figure out how to beat you and you're trying to figure out how to beat them. And, so you'd like to keep the etiquette, you'd like to keep it clean and civil and, not be, that person that is obnoxious or rude or swearing or,
Great point, because we don't want to treat our opponent like our enemy. We want to treat them like our frenemy.
Okay.
I mean, although we can hate them inside, we can't show it.
You can just be civil. Like when you're changing sides, if you have all 3 balls, don't just chuck them to the back fence and make the other people go pick it up. Just walk and hand it to them or put it on the tray if there's a tray or put them on the bench. And, if you're playing doubles, you're going to talk to your partner. And, if you're looking to, you can have, after the match is over, if you're sitting down and having a drink or snacks or whatever, if it's a USTA league match where you're bringing stuff, that's the time to be more social. But when you're playing, you're competing, and there's ways of going about competing and being within the civil, being civil to one another, and acting the way you hope you're hoping to act the way they would hopefully you'd want them to act back towards you.
Right. Exactly. Now, the one unwritten rule that I really don't understand, but I guess it's a courtesy thing, is, the net cord and the sorry.
Yes, we went over that one time. We had a whole video on sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, that is an unwritten rule, and for some reason it started happening, like, I want to say 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And I'm like, okay.
Right.
I mean, I saw it on TV.
It may have been it could have just started out as a friendly match if you were playing and you hit one and I go, "You so lucky."
Right.
And you'd be like, yeah, sorry, I'm lucky. That could have been how it may have just come about, and you're playing people all the time and you obviously probably not trying to hit the net and have it trickle over, so a little acknowledgement. And a lot of times they're not even looking at them when they're just kind of putting their hand up as a show of.
Yeah, that's the thing. I say, I do this, and you're like, got your back turned over.
Yeah, and that's,
Okay.
That's just part of how things have evolved a little bit.
Okay. So,
and it's like, I would rather see you go like this than jump up and down and celebrate that I was luckier than you on that one. Like,
good point.
That's, I know when that happens, in some of our junior stuff, I'm like, hey, you were lucky. He knows you were lucky. Let's not celebrate because the tennis man up there or woman may frown on you the next time if they see you acting inappropriately.
Right. Okay, so what happens when a ball rolls on your court?
Okay. Is it between serves? Is it during a point?
It's during a point, and
So you're playing a let, you're stopping play, you're playing a let.
Right.
Correct.
What happens?
Server gets 2 serves.
Okay.
Even if they miss their first serve,
okay,
they get 2, so you're replaying the point. Yep.
Okay. Got it. Now, here's the one question that I get asked once in a blue moon. Let's say you hit your first serve.
Okay.
And it goes way out and goes into the second court.
Okay. So you didn't make an effort to save it from running over there. You just stood there and watched it roll all the way over there.
Right. It was an out serve, obviously.
Right.
And so we had to wait to get the ball back, which stalled time.
Okay.
Some people actually ask me, do I get 2 serves on that?
Yes. So that does come up. So usually your play is to be continuous. So if that serve is awry and it goes out of bounds, you leave it, assuming there's no one next to you. So you just leave it. They serve, play the next point, or play that point. When the point is over, then you go track down the ball.
Right.
And you give them that ball back, and then off you're going so that the server has 2.
Right.
It gets a little dicey when you interfere with the court next to you. They then just blindly push it back over and it interferes, and now you have a delay. That is usually, if it's a long enough delay, and I don't necessarily know there's an exact time on how long's too long and how long's not too long, but if there's a substantial time, just give them the ball back, say, hey, first serve.
Okay.
And you hope that at least if that happens when I'm serving, that they're going to give me the same courtesy that I'm giving them. And that's, unwritten, I guess. I don't know exactly, but yeah.
Okay, good point.
Because that does happen, and it, sometimes it's on a big point, or they've got a great first serve, and I don't want to see their first serve again, so I'm going to be less inclined. But you're like, no, just, hey, I'm hoping that it's going to work. If that happens, if the role's reversed, that I'm going to get the same courtesy.
Got it. Okay. Now, what if in the... All right, ready?
Out.
The ball was in! You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious! The ball hit the paint. Paint flew up. Did you not see that? Are you blind? You need an eye doctor. You cannot be serious. Oh, wait. I have SwingVision.
The ball is in.
You're on a break, ball rolls on your court. So the person who missed the serve immediately serves again, and the first ball rolls onto your court.
Right.
So you pick up the ball.
Correct.
They're in the middle of a point.
Right. Wait till the point's over.
Yeah. And then you hit it back.
So usually while you're waiting, you figure out who the server is, wait till the point's over, and then give the ball back to the server. Some people will just roll the ball back against the fence.
Right.
That can be a hindrance if the opponents that sees that, right? Maybe because in theory, you're my opponent, let's say, and I see a ball rolling behind you, I'm going to stop play for your safety because I don't want you to run back and step on it because you don't know it's there. I do, as I hope that you would do the same thing for me, right? If I don't see it and you see it, say something. Hey, ball on.
Right.
Right. So there's a little bit of a give and take of how you give it back, but usually just wait for them to finish their point, give it back to the server, or if it's not the server, just give it back to whoever's next to you, however but usually give it back to them. Don't just whack it into the corner.
Okay.
Because that's probably how, when your ball goes over there, that's probably how they're going to give it back to you.
Now,
And please say thank you.
Yes, please say thank you. when would you stop another person's play?
Yeah, that's a good one. If there's, our courts are a little close together, so that happens up here. And a lot of times these, the group of guys I'm thinking of, they just yell stop, ball in court. Mm-hmm. And they're all friends. They all play every week. If the other guys don't see it, don't say anything, they're going to say it.
Okay.
Because they're like, look, the point's not worth it. We're all playing for fun. We just want to make sure everybody's safe and nobody wants to roll an ankle.
Got it.
Or step on the ball.
So I've seen it where literally a ball from this court rolls straight into the net of the adjacent court.
Right.
And it's not affecting any body.
Yet, that you know of.
Right. And it may not.
May not.
It probably won't. Who makes the call on who stops play?
If it's on your court, anybody can call it.
Okay.
So if you see it, you say it. If I see it, I'll say it.
I see. Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Because there again, it may not interfere. It may not create. Nobody may even see it, but it's there. Mm-hmm. And if someone does see it, hey, ball on, guys. Let's,
Right. Okay.
Better safe than sorry.
Now, bathroom breaks, respites, in between points, taking time. What is the courtesy on that?
So between points, what's it, 25 seconds? Is it 30? Yeah. I don't remember the exact. I should know that, sorry. Didn't know I was getting that quick today. So usually you just play to the server's pace. So that issue has come up. I've seen it on the pros. They've had a few run-ins with that where the chair umpire is monitoring that. The bathroom break on the tour is a challenge. It shouldn't be a challenge. It should be a cleaner, simpler, hey, you've got 5 minutes. After that,
5 minutes is a long time, though.
You got to get off the court. You got to get to the bathroom. You're at a grand slam. The bathroom's probably not too far off the court or the locker room.
Right.
Here, you got to go to the bathroom. You're hiking it down the hill, right? You're off jogging to the bathroom.
Right. True.
Hopefully using a restroom and not finding a bush. But you are looking for, an appropriate time to have to use that bathroom break and use it because you have to go to the bathroom, not because you're trying to stall or you just lost the set. And now you're going to go in there and hope your opponent cools off. That does happen a fair amount.
Okay, but keep it as fast. Keep it quick.
It should
5 minutes.
Be. Right.
But
okay. I mean, it depends how long it takes you to get there.
Right.
Hey, maybe you got some stomach issues.
Right.
Like, okay, fine, but at least a lot of it you see
that's
it's
just
used as more of a
stall tactic.
Stall tactic then. Yeah.
Now, as we end, we're going to talk about sportsmanship a little bit here. When somebody makes a good shot, do you want to say great shot?
So they won the point, right?
Right.
Do they already know it was a good shot?
Yeah.
Do you need to make them feel even better?
But you can also say that's gamesmanship. It's like getting in their head a little bit too. So it's a positive or a negative. You'll see some pros clap their hand on their strings, a little, acknowledgement. You don't need to say, I don't think you need to say great shot. I mean, if I'm playing you and you hit a great shot, I'm going to say, hey, great shot, Harry. Right.
If I'm competing against you and you hit a great shot, I just lost the point.
Right.
I don't need to make you feel any better than you just did because you just beat me.
Okay. All right. Now, at the end of it all, is shaking hands in the rule books?
I've never seen it I don't think I've read the rule book to that page to see if it says shake hands at the end. If it doesn't, it should.
Right.
I guess I'm going to need to read the rule book next time we have these conversations. But going up, shaking hands, racket bumping. With COVID, nobody was touching each other, so they were racket bumping. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Shaking hands is the way that had been before COVID and seems to be coming back into shaking hands again.
Right, because tennis
People
is one
aren't
of
as Yes, we're still worried about COVID and germs and all those things, but
Right.
the etiquette is kind of coming back to shaking hands.
Right, because tennis is synonymous with shaking hands.
Correct.
Right, you see it.
Golf, same thing. When
Yeah.
you're done with your match, take your hat off, shake hands
Right.
with the,
So the shaking hands is you respect your opponent, you respect the sport, you thank him or her for the
for
great
playing,
match.
for having a good match, for playing.
Yeah. So it's a gentleman's sport. We have to treat it with respect. And so these were some of the things that, kind of come up on a daily basis, actually, when you're competing.
Well, and it's one of the sports that if you don't have officials, you are the player,
Right.
the scorekeeper,
Right.
the linesman.
Right.
You're all of those while you're hitting the ball. So there's not a lot of sports where you run the gamut of being all of those. You wear all of those hats when you're out there.
Right, exactly. So you kind of rule your own match, let's say, or is in charge of, in the rule books, you're in charge of your side of the court.
Correct.
Is what it says. And you're supposed to play as fair as you can possibly do it.
Right. 99% out is 100% in.
Right. So I didn't want to get into the total rules of the game. I'm just talking about some of the unspoken rules of the game that just kind of come up, the gray-ish areas.
Some of that is because it's not taught, right?
Right.
It's like, let's sit down for a lesson and talk about all the things that may happen. It's
Right.
like you usually learn them as you play, and as you go about competing and learning and playing more, you learn from others.
Right. And the way, I got to add this one thing at the end here. As a person going to your court or going to another court where you have to go either through.
Oh, we did a video on
Yes.
that. Yes, we
But
did.
that was a long time
That was a
ago.
long time ago.
Yeah. So
Yes, don't walk through someone else's game to get to your court. Wait till the points are over and then enter the court or leave the court. Don't
Right.
just, hey, I'm done, therefore I'm going to go look at my phone and rudely walk behind somebody while they're playing.
Right.
Wait
Right.
till their point is finished.
Yeah, so just patiently wait quietly. Don't be noisy. Just say, when their point is over, say, excuse us. We're going to go to the court, and they'll probably happily wave you through. The one other unwritten rule and the last one that I wanted to go over is, let's say all the courts are taken and you're waiting for one of those courts to open. There's no sign as to telling you how much longer they're going to be on or what time they started, like some of the courts do have. What's the courtesy in...
Is there like a hang your racket, hey, I got next court?
There isn't.
Okay, so we don't have that.
Yeah, so what's the courtesy in asking?
So usually you would probably just wait till somebody is finished, probably with a game. I wouldn't usually ask them between points, but I would wait till the game is over. Maybe they're on a changeover. They've got their 90 seconds. Okay, hey, you guys getting close to being finished? And everybody's had to wait for a court, so everybody understands. You're just trying to get a sense of time.
Got it. I was reading somewhere that the right way to ask would be, what is your set score?
You could, yes, that's another way. And they could say, some of our guys up here have jokingly said, hey, we just started. And I know they've been played 3 sets, so they're messing with each other. But yeah, you can ask, hey, what's your score? There again, you don't know if that's going to be the end of the first set, or you can say, hey, what's your score? And then, oh, you guys playing it,
Oh, right.
How long are you planning on playing?
Or what's your score?
What's your score?
A match score, let's say. Yeah. Got it. So be patient, okay? Ask during the right times. Wait till those times arise to politely ask for various things. All right? So don't go in with, what do they call it? Brashness. as we can say.
Right. Don't walk in and throw your bag down and then sit there and wait for them to finish.
Right. I've seen that done. I think I've seen everything done. That's why we came up with this video. Coach Rob, thank you for teaching us the way in the unwritten rules of the game of tennis.
Sure.
All right. So, guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.